Welcome back to Coffee Talk. I'm your host, Kate Coffee Bacon. My guest for this episode is someone I met just a few weeks ago at DynamicsCon in Las Vegas. I walked up to her the same way I walk up to everyone and said, "Hi, I'm Kate. I'd love to know you." And within about 5 minutes, I knew she had to be on this show. Her name is Melissa Wilhelmi. She started her career at 16 at a job fair she wasn't even there for. Finished a microbiology degree while falling in love with computers, and spent 17 years at Sally Beauty, moving through programming, project management, and implementations. Then she made the leap to Sunrise Technologies, a Microsoft Dynamics partner where she spent the last 8 years. First as a consultant, then running their training program, and just 6 months ago, stepping into the role of Senior Director of Marketing. She also plays bass in 2 rock bands, is training for High Rocks, and has a cat named George who absolutely runs her house. The thread through all of it is curiosity, and I think you're going to love this conversation. Melissa Wilhelmi, welcome to Coffee Talk.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it. My first podcast.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
I listen
this
to
is
podcasts
super
all
special
the
then.
time. So this is my first one to actually be on. So this is kind of
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. I'm like super duper honored now. So this is a gentle, soft entry into podcasting because we're just going to talk. We're just going to have a conversation. And I have only recently met you. I've known who you are. I attended one of your sessions at DynamicsCon a couple of weeks ago, and it was just phenomenal. And I loved how you just so naturally shared. And so I flagged you for Coffee Talk immediately. So
actually
yeah.
well, I get to be in the room right now with an award winner. So
Oh my gosh.
that's what I was very excited
Wasn't
about.
that so exciting? I still am
Yes.
pinching myself. If you are listening, a couple of weeks ago, we were at an industry conference, DynamicsCon, and I haven't recorded a coffee talk since then to
Oh.
even make an announcement. But I received a superhero award for my work in diversity and inclusion, specifically with this platform, with Coffee Talk, and of course with She Builds. And so much more is coming with She Builds. So follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram. You guys know where to find me. So thank you for saying that and for triggering my memory.
Yeah.
What a very special award
I know
to
it.
receive, and to get it from Jody. Like
I love Jody.
she's the wind beneath my wings. And so
Yes.
it's like, she's just incredible. And her words were so kind. And, I showed up and showed out in a bright yellow suit, and here we are.
With your flower.
With
And you
my
got your flower on today.
my massive flower, right? Yeah. So funny.
Almost put on a shirt that I have that has a little flower here to be like an homage for you, but then I
Wow.
thought, no, that's Kate's thing. That's Kate's.
That's so funny. People at conferences are like, "Well, I can't wear a flower now. It's your thing."
I
I'm
know.
like, please don the flower. Join in. Okay. Well, this coffee talk is about you. So
Okay.
so let's turn it around. If you have not crossed paths with Mel, give us a quick picture of who you are and what you're up to right now.
I am heading up our marketing department right now at a company called Sunrise Technologies. We are an implementer for D365 across the board, but finance and supply chain management, Copilot, Power Platform, all of that. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, but that for me is new. I've been with Sunrise for 8 years now, but the first 3 were being a consultant. And then I moved into an internal role where I train our new hires. And then just recently, 6 months ago, to the marketing department. But by trade, I'm a retail girl. So
Wow.
anything retail, I love. Whenever we go to stores or restaurants or whatever, I'm always peeking around the corner saying, "Can I look at what technology you're using?" And I like to watch their workflows and ask them questions about it, just because I have a natural curiosity about pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to tech or anything retail, I'm going to be all over, or music, like I'm all over that too. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is what I'm up to right now. So learning a new role, pivoting to like a new group. I have an awesome new team, which is really, really cool. But then also keeping my hands still in the tech side of things so I don't get removed from it.
Yeah.
That's the challenge that
Yeah.
is hard to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent an intake form to all of my guests just to get an idea of what we're going to be talking about, so that I can kind of craft questions, and I kind of know where the conversation is going. And wow, your career is so many pivots, changes, and so I really
Mhm.
think this conversation is going to land and resonate. I am exactly the same way. I am working through a keynote that I'm doing on Friday on personal branding and knowing your why, and going through that exercise again. I have seen that my why is the common thread across all of my changes, my pivots, and I kind of see that with you. So we'll look at that a little bit, but I do want to go back because the path to where you are now is not a straight line,
No.
and I love that about it. So tell me how it started, and where does this story actually begin?
Okay. So, whenever I talk about my current job, especially when this is how I frame my experience when we get new hires to our company. Our company hires in college grads and we train them up on how to work at Sunrise, how to be a consultant, how to use the D365. So, I always explain it like this. So, when I was 16, which was some time ago, my friend, when I was 16, she said, I want to go and get a job at Six Flags Over Texas, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a theme park
Yeah.
here in the Dallas, Texas area. It's where I'm from, born and raised, Fort Worth girl over here. And I thought, I don't want a job, but okay, I'll go with you. So we lived a good 45 minutes from there. So we drove all the way to Arlington, went to this job fair, and inside of the convention center, there were booths for all of the departments that Six Flags has. And there's way more to it than what you just might think. Like operating the rides, that's just one thing. But I looked around, and this is very odd for a 16-year-old, but I'm like, what in this room has the most real world applicability? Like, where could I reuse skills? And I looked and I saw, retail. Retail is everywhere. And so that one decision in 1991, Kate, yes, I'll be honest, 1991, that landed me where I'm at today, which is wild to think of. And it all came from just finding something that I thought would give me skills that I could use for the rest of my life. And it really has. Because it built my career on all the different jobs that I've had. I've always had a retail bent to them. So that's how it all started. That's my origin story.
Yeah. I was actually thinking the other day, because I've been recounting my origin story for several reasons. I have several projects going on right now, and I shudder to think if one tiny thing had been different, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I
Yeah.
really love where I am right now. I haven't always loved the journey. There were times it was hard. It's hard for
Mhm.
everybody, but man, it was worth it, because this space that I'm in now, and the stories that I get to hold, the stories that I get to help
Mhm.
share, and at times retell, I wouldn't trade any of that stuff. So I I understand that completely. So you said you spent 10 years at Six Flags.
Yes.
Um, that a decade is a long time for roller coasters. Although I do love a good roller coaster. You love a good roller coaster. Somewhere in there, somewhere along the line, computers enter the picture. How did that happen?
Yes, exactly. So at the time, we had just they were electric registers, but they were by no means computers. They were like old school or calculators, really more, really, right? If you remember back to then, that's what we had. Well, early on, we decided to replace all of those with actual IBM registers. And I thought that was super cool. And I was very intrigued. And the boss that I worked for, her name was Deanne, asked me to help out. And I just sucked it in and glommed on to every single piece of information I could get. I really enjoyed putting together all the parts in the back room that we had for the display and the keyboard and the little Stripe reader for your credit card and all that. So I really got into that. And then she started teaching me how the day end process works, how inventory reconciliation works, and all the other portions that go along with it. That she started letting me help out with those kinds of things, which then I learned more about budgets and data and everything that we had going on. But to me, all I did was I was a register user, but there is so much more beyond it, so that it opened my mind up to look into more things further and further. So as I moved up through the management ranks at Six Flags in the retail department, they put me in charge of all the POSs. I was the one crawling underneath trying to figure out why the ring went down. Basically, it was an old token ring network. This is a long time ago. People don't even know what that means anymore.
I
I
do.
love that. You
I
do? Oh,
actually do.
great.
Yeah.
Great. I was the one like rolling around on the floor in the funnel cake thing, trying to figure out why it went offline right
Yeah.
there. So that was just really cool. I got into computers just from that. I wanted to change my undergrad to basically what we had at University of North Texas, business computer information systems, because like a blend of coding along with the business itself. But my counselor was like, no, just finish your undergrad and come back and get your master's in IT. And that's what I did. So I did that while I was working at Six Flags for the most part.
So your undergrad is in what?
Microbiology and chemistry.
Okay, wow. So
Yes.
you finished a biology, microbiology, and chemistry degree, even knowing that you were heading somewhere else entirely, and that
Yes.
takes a lot of discipline and eyes on the prize of knowing where you're going. What made you see that through to the end?
Well, whenever I was finishing up working at Six Flags, my boss told me, like, hey, there's a job open at a place called Sally Beauty Supply,
Oh,
and it's
Sally.
just down the road. Why don't you try for that? She goes, I thought about it for myself, but it's just too far for me. But why don't you give it a try? And so she did. And when I was hiring in at Sally, they knew I was about to go and get my master's. That was right when I was starting it. And they said, you know what? If you come work here and you work in the replenishment department, then when you get your master's, we'll bring you into the IT department and you can code for those people.
Oh, wow.
So whenever I got my degree and transitioned to IT, I was able to just hop right into the coding side of things because I already knew the entire business side and all the people too. And so that was really cool. And that always had a, if you finish this, you're going to go here. If you try this, you're going to go there. But beyond that, even, it's just pretty much every job I've been at, I am a very, very, very curious gal,
Yeah.
And that's so funny because my cat's name is George. We should call him Curious George.
Curious, George.
Yeah. But so I'm always wanting to know why something works or doesn't work
Hmm.
and or why we're doing a new project or what the new project is about. So I was always asking my boss and our boss's bosses, oh, AX. What's that? Are we doing something with AX?
Yeah.
Well, yes, we are. And then you're one of the two people who are going to join the original project team. So me voicing my curiosity about other roles and other things going on at the company seems to be what helps me move along.
Yeah.
That curiosity.
I'm seeing that. So how long were you at Sally's?
17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
And I see that. I see that curiosity. I feel like a lot of your story is happening and unfolding during those 17 years.
Mhm.
Tell me more about your programming, being pulled into the PMO, implementations, all of that.
Yeah. So it was really, really exciting to get chosen to be part of this AX project we were doing at Sally. So basically, our CIO brought me and my buddy, Eric, into the room and said, look, we have all these international locations. So everything not US based, we're converting them all over to this new system called AX 2009. And we were like, oh, okay, because we came from an AS400 world, very much the old school on-prem servers.
Yeah.
And this technology was brand new to us. And so just being chosen to be part of that project really landed me where we are today, really, with working in the dynamics area. And that is always to me been so cool because we're a small group, you know?
Yes.
Like
Right.
worldwide, we're not this huge group of users. So it's just really neat to be a part of it and neat to have a voice. And back then, I don't know if you're like this, Kate, but I have changed over time a lot. I am way more gregarious, outgoing, and curious than I used to be.
Mm.
So I am so much more of a different person than I am now than I was when we first started working with AX 2009. But the whole thing that always weaved it is curiosity.
Mm.
Why did replenishment or why did master planning go down last night? Let's figure that out. Was it net change? Was it regen? All of that. So I like to really understand why something happens. And usually my husband is like, just don't ask the why, just move forward. But I always want to know why.
I was gonna. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I have definitely, especially I would say the last 5 years, I am a very, I won't say that I'm different. I'm just much more grounded. I know the direction that my feet are pointed in. And it surprises people to find out that I'm actually a massive introvert.
Me too. I am too.
Yes. When I am home, a friend of mine was here with me over the weekend um when I'm home, I don't leave. My car is parked in the same spot. And then I hit the road and I'm traveling and I can't get enough of the dynamics community. Because I'm curious, because I want to have these conversations because I want to understand people. That is my curiosity, is
Mhm.
people. And
Me too.
yes, and understanding who a person is at their core, is fascinating to me, and it is such an honor to for somebody to trust you, to come into their space and have those conversations, these conversations like we're having right now. So
Mhm.
curiosity is, it leads the way for me. It's a reason that I read so much. It's a reason I ask so many questions. I feel like we're kindred spirits
I
in
think
that.
so too.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because I don't meet a lot of people in the world who have as much curiosity as I do. So it's cool to be around someone who does because like oh my gosh, I am like an Uber driver's worst nightmare whenever I get in. I want to how's your day? Did you have any trouble? How are your
Oh,
passengers? Like I spend the entire time asking them questions and they're probably like, "Lady, please stop."
right. Right. I can't have a silent Uber ride. I end up knowing way too much about a person by the time we
Way
get to
too
an
much,
airport
but
or
they just tell me about it, right?
yeah.
They just tell you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what drives me to beyond just plain old curiosity. It's like you said, it's curiosity about people. And that is why I stayed at Six Flags so long and I stayed at Sally so long. And that's why I love Sunrise too, is that it's the people. And I'm about to put a video about that out. I think it's next week on LinkedIn. I can't remember, but that is what always keeps me going back. Like, I don't remember necessarily the hard work, the late hours, only if they're anecdotal fun stories, what my husband calls type 2 fun,
Right.
where you didn't mean for it to be fun. Actually, it was kind of a pain at the time, but now it's fun when you think back on it. You
Yeah.
know, that's what I remember, and I remember people. And so that is why I stay at places for so long for the most part is the people.
Is the people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
helping people to get through things.
my work team, we have a new team that we put together, and this team is I adore them. Like, I am so front row for all that they are going to do, all that they're already doing. And just I'm so excited to watch their growth and have a hand in that growth. I keep seeing this, like, word in my mind of, like, master plan. You have had
Mm,
so many reinventions, I'll call
mhm.
them. You have a degree in microbiology. You were a programmer, a consultant. Now you're a marketing director, which
Yes.
I feel like we could go on and on about that because I'm SVP of marketing at my company.
Oh, yeah.
I love marketing. But
Oh, yeah.
I think when some people look at, I'm going to make a leap and say, if someone were to look at your resume and all that you've done and assume that there was a master plan there, was there? You're just making it up as you were going along, which I love it.
I that's pretty much that. Yeah, and I've like honestly, to tell you the truth, something I don't think I've ever said this out loud before, but I did have one boss at one time who that really concerned him because
Mm,
he wanted me to fit this one particular mold.
yeah,
And I'll fill a mold, yeah, but I ain't staying in it.
yeah,
I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do this. If it's not working, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that, that kind of thing. So I think that back then I was an enigma to him. Yeah, it's so he I was upset by him saying that. But
yeah.
then when I thought about it, I'm like, forget it. Like I've got things that I want to learn. If you're gonna put me in the situation where I don't have any resources, I'm gonna find them.
Oh,
And I just went and did it my way, basically. I pulled an old Blue Eyes on us and did it my own way.
I love
Frank
that.
Sinatra. I just love whenever I can put some kind of results along with helping someone. That's really where I get the most pleasure
Yeah,
out of any kind of job. I've always loved to like being on the consulting side. It was so cool to have somebody tell me, I need a system that does da, 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 da. And then for me to then go put that in place and that look of, yeah, it
yeah,
makes me so happy. I
yeah.
love that.
While we're on that track of talking about other people and helping other people, if someone is listening, I love to ask this question to my guests. If someone is listening right now and they're standing at a crossroads of sorts, and maybe they're
Mhm.
thinking about pivoting or they are scared, or I've had so many conversations lately where people feel like it's too late to make a change for them in their career.
Mhm.
What does it actually feel like from the inside when you're in it to make that change?
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely am older and I've just made a pivot. The owner of our company saw something in me and he knew that I could do it. And the fact that he saw it, it made me realize, yeah, 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 I can do that. I can do this. So just having a champion was really nice. But you're right, the fear is real. Like, what's the best way I can say to get over it? I can relate it to something like I love to work out, doing any kind of fitness I'm super into. And I am very scared to jump on things because I don't want to break my hands because I can't
Mhm.
work if I have broken hands. So I was very, very afraid to do box jumps or those kinds of things. Well, my trainer worked with me and she was like, this is fear. And when you feel this fear, you have to push through it because your mind knows you can do it, but you're holding yourself back. And that's the same kind of a situation in the work world too. Like we tend to hold our own selves back. I would say as a woman, I would tend to hold myself back in the past. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't let any other young person that I see say that or say negative things about themselves. I can't even remember what it was, Kate, but in the talk we had in Dynamics Con, one of the ladies said something in a way where she kind of was downgrading her own talent.
Right.
And I can't even remember what it was. And I said, no, no, you did that thing. And she went, yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So that's what I like to do too.
Yeah. And I see you as being on every side of the table. I mean, you just added another layer of it with the training that you do
Yeah.
from being a functional user, a programming, now a marketer. How does that change the way that you see or approach a problem? Do you even see problems in the same way?
Well, let's see. The problems like in the marketing area are less black and white than they are maybe more on the tech side of things. Like if something is not working correctly, a program's not working correctly, I can set some breakpoints and debug it and find out where it's going wrong. It's not as easy with a department like marketing or something like that, where just one thing you do can have a ripple effect.
That's right.
across the board. And so that's what I'm learning how to navigate now is to think way more big picture, way more big picture,
Yeah.
and to help see that one small action here will have dividends later across down the line. Where in the past, when I was an individual contributor, that thing that's going to be improved came directly from what I just did. So making the leap from that into a more of a leadership role and encouraging everyone else on my team to have a positive attitude and to look past the black and white answers that they might be wanting. Like, I'm kind of bringing that into the role because I've been in those shoes before.
It isn't black and white. There's so many different ways and perspectives for approaching any problem.
Yeah.
And that is because of those glorious pivots and your
Yeah.
experience and the things that you've seen.
It's an outsider's perspective might look and think, oh my God, she can't figure out what she wants to do, which is exactly what that old boss thought. And I'm like, no, I'm going to where I'm needed most. We have this new big project. I want to go help on that. We're opening a project management office. I'm going to help on that. We need to train new hires. I'm going to help on that. So I like my preparation too. I'm kind of a type A kind of guy. I don't know if people even still say type A anymore.
I
I don't
do.
understand. Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing anymore or not, but I'm a list maker. I check things off, make
Yeah,
sure. And every single lesson I learn, if I forget something, it's going to be on that list and it never happens again.
that's right.
Never.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love to prepare. I love going into something. But like for our conversation today, I specifically did not prepare so that I wanted to see what you'd ask,
Yeah.
and then but well, no, actually, Kate, I'm lying. I did prepare a little bit. I went through and read your whole website and did this and did that. I did do that.
You just did your reconnaissance work
Diligence.
on what to expect, which as you should. And you know that we again, I feel like you should come back on another coffee talk and we can talk about marketing.
Yeah.
That's what everybody does. We go into we do our research on I looked up everybody on your panel. I looked you up before I went into your session because I
Oh.
wanted to understand who I was about to be sitting in front of while you were teaching me, while you were showing me a new way. Um, and we do that, which I won't get on a personal branding kick, but that's all the more reason why it's so important for us to show up with a personal brand if we are showing up in community. If you
Hmm.
are, if you are out there speaking, which you are, community is a huge part of your story. Your speaking engagements, your YouTube. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're showing up consistently. Why does showing up for community matter to you in the way that it does?
I learn best and I react best to this is what not to do kind of messages. And so going in the past, not any of our dynamics conferences or anything, this is a long, long time ago. I would go to a meeting or a convention and I nobody would talk to me, nobody would ask me questions, and I would just be left to my own devices to try and learn. Right. And I would go up to someone and ask something and they kind of treat me like, oh, little child, you don't know anything, that kind of mentality. And then when stuff like that happens, I'm like, no one else is going to experience that ever again, ever. And so that's why whenever I love going to these community events and talking to people and making connections. It's so fun,
It is.
especially when they're from all over the world, because I get a real kick about connecting where people live and everything. So whenever I go to these conventions, I always try and look out for that person, be they younger, older, any whatever, male, female, I don't really care.
Yeah.
If they look like they might need some help, I'm going to go up to them and say,
Mm,
"Hey, do you need some help?" Or
mm.
how's it going with this session or that session? And that's what no one did for me a couple of times when I was younger. And so that shows me how to help others is to avoid that.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agreed. And this community is so good about that. It's so good about bringing in the person that may be standing in the corner that isn't. having a
Okay.
conversation, someone that's brand new to channel. One of my new team members is brand new to channel. He just started with us in January, and his network is booming already. And he's been to a couple of events. And this community is so great about just pulling people in and making them feel like you're home, like you
Hmm.
have a place.
Yeah.
Okay. We're
Like
gonna
everybody has experiences. Everybody can teach somebody something.
exactly.
That's what I
Truly.
like to hear. Like,
Really.
even if you've only been in, let's say, Dynamics for 2 months, like maybe when we have our new hires, every week I would get them to teach us a subject for 15 minutes
Oh,
because you have something to say no matter who you are or what you know. You've had a life up until this point. You've had experiences. You have wisdom that I don't have. Teach me about that thing.
yeah, that's a good note for leaders that may be listening right now. I love that, and now I'm wondering how can I pull that into my own, Monday calls, Friday morning calls. Teach me something new. Teach
Yeah.
me, because in that there's so much confidence in that.
Yes.
That sharing of knowledge.
Yes, I love doing that, and it would make them a little nervous at first, but when they got used to it and then it was a repetitive thing, it really, really did pay off quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a dramatic shift
Okay.
because I have to ask this question. Bass player in two rock bands,
Yes.
F45,
Yes, my workouts.
uh, High Rocks? Training for
Yes.
High Rocks? Okay.
Reading for High Rocks.
Tell me more about this version of Mel that is existing outside of work because I feel like
Yeah.
she informs everything else.
It's really, really funny. When I moved over from Sally, which was the end user side, to Sunrise, the consulting side, that was one of the scariest jumps I made, by the way. But I came over because of people. I
Mhm.
followed people around that I knew that I liked. And so whenever I came into Sunrise, 8 years ago, almost exactly now, 8 years and 2 weeks or something like that, I was kind of the same as I am now, but I was not as confident speaking or gonna go up and talk to somebody randomly. I wouldn't have done that. At the same time that I joined Sunrise, my two bands started performing and practicing more
Mm.
at the same time. And one influenced the other. And I'm not sure which one it was, but I have a feeling it was the encouragement that I get from my friends and my husband and everybody to when I'm on stage to really emote and perform, which I've never done that. I'm a band girl. You had to be stoned faced. I was the trumpet player and all that. And so I was never the one that was just out there just emoting because I wasn't in theater or anything. I think that is what has changed my personality to where it is today, where I have no fear of speaking in front of people. I have no fear of going up to strangers and talking to them. I think it became from the performance part of the bands that I'm in. It seems
Mm.
to. Like one fed the other. And it's kind of hard to put my finger on exactly when and where that happened, but it really, really did. So now when I'm up on stage, I'm crazy and I'm dancing around and doing my different things. And it's probably a lot more fun to watch than when I used to stand there
Yeah,
quietly like a stone.
absolutely. I guarantee you, absolutely, if somebody that frequents live music as often as I can, it is much more entertaining to
Yeah.
have that version.
Yeah, I love doing my band stuff. I've been a music girl since I was 10 or so.
Oh,
But doing the bass player thing, I always had, those things like you have goals in life. One day I want to fly a plane. One day I want to do whatever. Mine was one day I want to be in a rock band and play bass and sing backup. There you go. And so
yeah.
I did it and I absolutely love doing it. It's such a good time. So you'll see me all the time on Fridays. I put like Friday fun posts out on LinkedIn where I talk about songs that are stuck in my head and workout moves that I've liked this week. That's where that all comes from.
I am heading to LinkedIn as soon as we wrap here, and I'm going to engage with every one of those posts so they show up
Good.
first for me in my feed. So that is where I am headed when we wrap here. So when you get 20 notifications from Kate Coffee Bacon, you'll know what
And it'll give me all the warm, fuzzy feeling. I'm like, "Oh."
So I feel like both of us have this huge heart for people, and we both have such interesting stories of pivots, and I want to come back to this again as we slowly start wrapping. We could talk for 5 more minutes, or we could talk for 30 more minutes. Who knows? Who knows
Exactly.
where we're going right now? If someone is listening to this podcast and they're in the middle of a career that doesn't look like maybe they planned, what do you
Mhm.
want them to actually walk away from this episode with?
The one thing that's gonna hold everybody back, let's say they have a job and it pays okay, but it's not giving the fulfillment that they want. They're gonna be afraid in this day and age to leave a job that is providing for them now for the uncertainty of the future. But what I would say, the future is always uncertain. And coming from this type A girl that wants to plan everything and know everything that's going to happen, that's never going to be the case. So look for something that gives you some kind of fulfillment. It doesn't have to be the end all be all right now, but what is something that fulfills you? Find a path that leads towards that fulfillment. That's the only thing I can think of. So for me, it's the people side of things. And so whenever I make pivots, I will always pivot towards working with a group of people or helping out a group of people. So that's what I look for. So find that one thing for you and see how you can pursue it responsibly, basically.
Yeah. I love that. I love a lot of things about this conversation. I love that you didn't map out your path. I love that it is, there are lots of jumps. And what I see in that is that you were always looking for what was more interesting. I kind of feel like you just said that,
Mhm.
more challenging, um,
Challenging.
something that was actually worth your energy. We all have to work. This is a huge part of our lives, the work that we do. But I
Mhm.
love that you were always looking for an opportunity that was more challenging, that was worth the energy that you were putting into it. And that mindset is its own kind of strategy for
Mm.
a career, for those pivots. Um, I have a 21-year-old daughter that is a rising senior in college, and we're talking about career right now. We're talking about what she wants to do, and she's like, I know kind of what I want to do, but I don't really know, and I celebrate that. I
Yeah,
celebrate that she doesn't really know, because she could get into the world of work and find a path that she never even saw coming. So
yeah.
being open and wanting that challenge, wanting to touch people and be effective, leave a legacy. I think, like I
Mhm.
said, I think it's its own kind of strategy.
It really is. And for me, like, I really couldn't care if my name is on something or people know who I am. Like, I don't care about that. It's does the person that I'm talking to have I helped them with their problem? Have I helped them think about something in a different way? That's what gives me the most pleasure. And you're right about the challenge thing. I do like that. I'm kind of the person who is the quintessential study and reverse psychology. If you tell me I can't do something,
Watch me.
watch me. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, you don't think I can do that?
Yeah.
Hang on, basically. So that's why I challenge myself with all of the fitness stuff, like the high rocks thing and my workouts, because it is supremely hard for me and not a whole lot of people do it. But ask myself, can I do this hard thing? And the answer is always yes.
Always yes.
Always yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But at
Absolutely.
the beginning, when you're looking up at the top of that mountain, you're like, "Oh my god, can I do this? Can I do this?" That's when you need someone next to you, that a Sherpa, if you will, to
Yeah.
say, "Yes, you can, and here is a path to start on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those very special people that come alongside you and lock arms with you.
Mhm.
And if something happens and you stumble and you lose your footing, you don't fall, because you've got
Correct.
people that are literally locked arms with you, that are holding you up until you get your footing again. And I love that imagery. And again, coming back to community and why it's so important for us to have each other. None of us
Mhm.
would just be going at this alone. Um,
Exactly.
Yeah, we need each other.
And especially, I would say now more than ever, but then I think pretty much everybody says that year after year. Now more than ever, we need each other. But I kind of think it's more true now
More
because
true
we're in
now.
the age of AI.
Yeah.
We're in the age of way more connectivity, but way less togetherness, which is really a weird paradox there.
Yeah. I know this, like we crave that time together.
Hmm.
And that learning from each other. It's like coming together and saying, okay, I just learned this thing. And it's like going back, way back to the way that we used to learn, and we used to learn from each other. We didn't used
Yeah.
to learn from the internet, from, it used to that shared knowledge from person to person, generation to generation. I strangely feel like we're returning to that a little bit as we are all learning and sharing what we're learning together. It
Yeah.
it feels like a throwback to those old days. So, well, I can't wait to see you in person again. I'm sure we will be sharing calendars and figuring out where we'll be next in the same zip code,
Hmm.
so that we can share air again. And we have got so much more to talk about. I feel like we're just scratching the surface on
Yeah.
all the things we have in common. My goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dynamics Con. Thank you.
Thanks, Dynamic Scott.
Right.
Thanks, Kate, for coming to my session.
Of course. I
Great.
mean, I had women in tech in the title. I couldn't miss it, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
you had me at women in tech. Well,
Quick shout out though to
yeah,
my coworker Caitlin Cooper, who actually organized and put that session together.
good job, Caitlin.
Yeah,
It was an
very smart.
excellent session. It was
Yeah,
an excellent session. Mel, thank you so much for being here, for giving me an hour of your time.
of
It is a
course.
Tuesday afternoon, and in the world of work, our calendars are jam packed full. So I thank you for making time for me and for Coffee Talk. This conversation was everything I hoped it would be.
Good.
Yes, if you are listening, you can follow the links in the show notes to connect with Mel. Follow her on LinkedIn because there's a Friday post we all need to be engaging in. And as always, same time, same place, but with a different cup of coffee next time. Thank you for listening to Coffee Talk. Thank you for joining us today on Coffee Talk. A special thanks to my guests for sharing their story and to you, the listener, for being a part of this conversation. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a Monday morning chat. Until next time, I'm Kate Coffee Bacon, and this has been Coffee Talk.